Welcome back to Football Friday here on WGR. Sneaky Joe DiBiase. Jeremy White off this morning. Bills and Falcons coming your way on Monday Night Football. Chris Brown joins the show now on the Westher Hotline, brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com, by Northtown Volkswagen, Western New York's #1 VW dealership. Shop online at northtownvw.com, and by Lockport Outdoor Store, high-impact gear for hardworking men and women. Good morning, Chris. It's Atlanta this Monday, and that's not a place that the Bills go very often. I mean, it's been, what, eight years, right, since they've been there?
Yeah, first year of McDermott's tenure as head coach. And it's kind of an interesting dichotomy here, because when the Bills went down there in 2017, first-year head coach, team trying to, become relevant again in the NFL, facing an Atlanta team with, NFC contender aspirations with a reigning league MVP in Matt Ryan, and now it's 8 years later and it's completely reversed. Atlanta's trying to become relevant, and they're facing a reigning MVP in Josh Allen. So kind of an interesting flip here 8 years later.
Yeah, that game I remember. The Bills hadn't won a road game against a top team in a long time, and then they went to Atlanta and won that game. There's a big Tre'Davious White play in there somewhere. I don't remember if it's a pick or a fumble.
53-yard fumble return.
Okay.
And for a touchdown, and then Micah Hyde had an interception on Matt Ryan on a deep post route.
Yep.
And really, Atlanta didn't take care of the football. And, lo and behold, the Bills get a one-score road win that nobody thought they'd get.
Right. So to this game, Chris, you mentioned the Falcons, the tables are kind of turned here, the other side. What do you think of these Falcons? They had one of the, I feel like, the worst performances in the league this year when they got shut out 30-0 against Carolina. They've looked, I think, okay in a lot of their other games, but a lot of it comes down to the quarterback. They've got a good run game. But what do you think about the Falcons kind of on the overall?
Yeah, so elite physical talent at the skill positions, and that includes the defensive side of the ball at edge rusher with the 2 first-round picks, James Pierce and Jalen Walker. But on the offense, I mean, they've got 6 first-round picks in their starting 11, and 4 of them are top 10 picks, and that's the quarterback, the running back, the receiver, and the tight end. So elite physical talent on the offensive side of the ball. The problem is they have yet to coalesce and play as an 11-man unit on a consistent basis. Great individual talent, but they haven't pulled it together in the team concept. And I think more than anything, that falls on Raheem Morris, their head coach, and their offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson. They've been trying to come up with ways to make them a more effective offense. Robinson even came down to the sideline from the booth a couple of weeks ago to try to make things better. And it's still a work in progress. And I think if you look at their results, it's a testament to that, up one week, down the next. And that 30-0 drubbing from a division opponent, and one that's not terribly respectable and trying to make the same leaps that Atlanta is was eye-opening. I mean, my eyes almost fell out of my head when I saw that score.
Yeah, in the turn they couldn't hang on to the football in that game. 3 turnovers, big returns by Carolina. Right, I'm trying to figure out what they want to be. Do they want to be this ground and pound attack, which would make sense? I mean, they have one of the best running backs. I mean, you can make an argument he is the best running back, most talented running back in football, in Bijan Robinson. But right, they have so much other skill. I guess it just comes down to how much they trust the quarterback. Because otherwise, they kind of present themselves as a team that you would think when they play the Bills, especially. The Bills' rush defense has showed some holes that you might expect a team like that to come out and say, let's run the ball right at them. And where are you on that, Chris? The Bills' rush defense and the level of concern of that. There are some bad numbers, although we did just see them against New England pretty much stop a Patriots offense that early on was trying to run the ball, and they really weren't able to, which is, I think, part of why they started throwing it with May more.
Yeah, I thought we saw some progress from the group last week. But again, you're entering a week where you're wondering who you're going to have in your front seven. That really disrupts what you're trying to get accomplished on the defensive side of the ball when you're switching people in and out all the time based on health. So you would hope that, they have a semblance of an idea as to who's going to be good to go on Monday night. And, you look at it and you say, Bijan Robinson's got to be job number one here. And we should also mention here that Bijan Robinson is not just a runner. He leads that team in receiving, and he's got 2 100-yard receiving games already this season. So just because you plug him up in the run game doesn't mean your job is done with that guy. So I think the biggest issue is, for Atlanta anyway, is Penix hasn't really figured it out yet. He hasn't put it all together. And, he doesn't have 16 starts in the NFL yet. He only played or started 6 games last year, I believe. So I think he's still figuring it out, so that's good news for the Bills. And, I'm a little worried about all these individual matchups with what they present, at the skill positions. I think you really got to heat up Penix and force him to make decisions prematurely, because he has shown if you heat him up, he is prone to mistakes.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the Bills' pass rush so far? There are some numbers that show that they are very, quick pressures, they're number one in the league. Some of those pressure rate numbers, they're rating pretty well. And Penix is not all that mobile. So, I don't know, would you expect them to get home this week, especially if Ed Oliver's playing, which I feel like the arrow is pointing in the right direction on that? How confident would you be in that unit winning this week?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better about some of those matchups across the front. Bobby Babich is, I feel at times that because of how thin they are at corner, linebacker, that he's kind of got a hand tied behind his back with the menu of calls he can go with and feel comfortable about. And when the pass rush is not getting home with just 4, I think it compromises things all the further. So I think they've got to mix and match stuff and try to find, a combination of things that puts the back end in the best position possible. Last week, they can't get home because of those split backs that they used to chip the edge rushers, and May had all day to throw. You cannot have that against Atlanta this week. You've got to come up with a way and devise a plan to get consistent pressure on Penix, because, as I said, you do that, I think he's prone to give you a couple opportunities to take the ball the other way.
Chris Brown. On the offensive side, Chris, you feel like they're going to try to get back to getting James Cook going after not much happening there last week?
Yeah, I would anticipate that. I think one of the most effective ways to, take what's going to be probably an amped-up Falcons crowd on a Monday night situation to get them out of the game early. You really just got to weather the first 10 minutes of the game there, not give them anything big to get the crowd in the game. So, to me, that answer is, running James Cook. I think the offensive line can win at the line of scrimmage in that area. So, yeah, that would be what I would do, and then just work some play action off of that. Josh has been very effective under center off play action this season. So I would kind of go that route, and, hopefully you have some success and they don't force you to do something else to make you play left-handed.
Chris Brown on the West Her Hotline. What's the media booth or the broadcast booth like in Atlanta for you? The stadium looks like a palace, but what's your setup like?
Yeah, it's hard to knock it. I mean, the press box food offerings are top notch.
Uh-huh.
I think there's even a soft serve ice cream dispenser there.
Wow.
Which is the same. Tampa, I got to tell you, the NFC South.
Yeah.
Some of their food offerings in their press boxes are elite. Because I know Tampa has soft serve too. We saw that in the preseason. But yeah, Atlanta. I guess it's because Arthur Blank is a Brooklyn native, so he had Carvel. He's got a Carvel ice cream soft serve dispenser in the press box. Carvel's a New York-based ice cream maker, and I guess he said, "I need that," and so it's there. And I'm not complaining, but the booth's a little off to the corner. It's not terrible. And what's interesting is they've got that around the roof ribbon board. So there's no ribbon board like along the sides where you usually see them on, the mezzanine level or something. They're around the top. So you really have to have your eyes down on the field and then pick them up again, if you want to check time on the clock and things like that. So that's the only thing that's a little different there.
Right. Listen, I'll say as someone that has a bad sweet tooth, I'm very glad the Bills do not just have just a soft serve dispenser just like right there for anybody to take.
Yeah, it's tough to stay away from.
Yeah, I don't think they have that at the new stadium. I can't confirm that for sure. I guess we'll see. Thanks, Chris. Enjoy the trip, and we'll talk to you on, I believe, Tuesday.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Chris.